Because I have a Palestine flag, I don't have a right to raise it. Because I have a Palestine flag. Because I have a...
What are people doing to him? What are people doing to him?
Okay. Can I have a chat to you?
Don't know why they
What are people doing to him?
They pushing.
No, I understand, but can I chat to you? Okay, because you've got a right to protest, and I am, unfortunately, or fortunately, I'm on the opposite side of this. But I'd like to have a chat to you.
No, you don't have to. Why are people chasing him away?
No,
Why are people chasing him away?
I have a right.
Why are you people removing him?
No,
Why are you people removing him? Why are you people removing him?
you can't tell me where to protest.
Why are you people removing him?
No.
Why are you people removing him?
Just comply.
Why are you people removing him? Why are you people removing him? Why are you people removing him?
Listen,
Why are you people removing him?
Before you go sleep.
Why are you people removing
The
him?
apartheid
Why
police.
are you people removing
The
him?
apartheid police
Why
said-
are you people removing
They're
him?
just doing their
Why
job.
are you people removing him?
The apartheid
Why are
police
you people
said-
removing him?
They just
Why
do-
are you people removing him? Why? Why? Whose
No.
instructions? Why?
The apartheid
Why are
police
you
said
people removing
They're
him?
just doing their job. You the new
Why are
apartheid
you people
police.
removing him? Why are you people removing him?
The apartheid
Why are you
police
people
said
removing him?
they're just
Why are
doing
you
their
people
job.
removing him?
Now that was the images that we saw yesterday that were extremely disturbing to see happening in South Africa today. And we're joined by, as I said earlier, Cassiem Parker, who is seen there in the video, and he's also an EXCO member of PAGAT. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, Brother Cassiem. Welcome to the program.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh to you and the listeners. Shukran for having me.
Yes, of course. It's just, like I said, quite disturbing to see that this has happened in South Africa. We've seen some of the resistance from, the law enforcement in Cape Town when it came to the wall murals in Burqa, but that was quickly, sorted out, as it were. And they continued with doing what they needed to do. So yesterday, you were then removed from protesting at the Newlands Cricket Stadium at the cricket match. What happened?
Okay, so first, I just want to set one of the facts straight that, sorry, I hope my incoming call's not bothering you because I need to cancel it.
No problem.
Oh,
All right.
sorry,
Unfortunately,
I'm still here. Okay.
Okay.
So
Right.
the issue really is that I want to set one of the records straight. That are you still there?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So just in terms of the timeline, my wife and I went to the cricket stadium with the purpose of raising the Palestine flag outside the gates while people were coming in.
Mhm.
Another person in our family, my son, had tickets to go into the stadium, and he intended to go, and he was dressed with a Palestine T-shirt, a T-shirt saying "Free Palestine" and a flag. So we got to the gates of Newlands, and we raised the flag. And within less than a minute, police were upon us and said, "You can't stand here." Now, this was in a public road opposite the Newlands Stadium. And I asked why. We are two people raising a Palestine flag. Why can we not, in a free South Africa, do what is our constitutional right? And at the end of the day, we asked why we can't do what is our constitutional right. And I was then told, no, the Gatherings Act says that you can't be here. My response, I can give you the long or the short of it, but my response was, hold it. The Gatherings Act, which I know very well, which is an apartheid type Gatherings Act of crowd control, says that
Yes.
if you're more than 15 people, then you need to apply for permission.
Correct.
Now, And I also, at that stage, said, you know what? When you tell me it's illegal, it doesn't mean that it's illegal. So I have the right to stand here. He said, no, we've made, this is Moses, who is, ironically, his name is Moses. He said, no, we've made provision for you people around the corner in order to protest there. I said, what do you mean, you people? I came, my wife and I came, and we wanted to raise the Palestine flag here. And then he said, no, you've got to comply. I told him, listen, I've been arrested before with a charge that you're talking about, the same act. And in court, it was determined after I had served 2 weeks waiting for a bail application, 6 months in under house arrest. Then the trial happened, and it was proven that it was an unlawful arrest. So before you move me, I want to tell you so that if it goes to court, you can't say you didn't know. But I told him, I want to tell you this. He didn't allow me. He told me I must move. I said, I'm not moving. I'm not walking. The police were still saying to me, if you do it peacefully, I said, no, you can't take away my rights and expect me to accept it peacefully. So they started pushing me. Now, as much as it looks traumatic, believe me, or I believe for any peaceful or freedom-loving South African, it is better for me to be pushed in order to conform to their unlawful situation than for me to walk where they want me to walk. That is why I said, if you want me somewhere, you push me wherever you want me to, but I'm not walking away from my rights. So they pushed me from the second gate to the corner, and then somebody took this video. The issue really is that where in this South Africa where we're supposed to have rights to protest, can they say to us that you can't raise a flag here? Number two, when South Africa rightfully says that Israel is committing a genocide against the Palestinian people, how is it possible that the law enforcement that is part of the national police, we can't now blame the Cape Town police,
yes,
that are preventing people from raising the Palestine flag? What kind of hypocrisy is this? So either Naledi Pandor's message hasn't filtered down to the police yet, and they still take instructions. So the second part of this is my son went to sorry, this incoming call is interrupting me. My son had a ticket for the stadium, and he went to show his ticket so that he can go in. The first thing that they said is they prevented him. They said he can't go in if he's got the Palestine flag, and he can't go in with his Palestine sweater. So what he said to them is, okay, I've been here before. There are people that were told you can't go with certain things. Can I leave my stuff here? They said, no, you can't. He said, I can go in without a sweater because I've been to cricket before. They allow people, when they're drunk, they allow them to take their sweaters off. So can I go without a sweater? They said, no, you can't. Then that means he was prevented from going in. He said, I'll turn my sweater inside out. They said, no. He said, I'll put the jersey over my sweater. They said, no. They refused him entry. He eventually got in because I switched my sweater with him.
Okay.
He got in like that. But he reported two things. There was a French flag allowed to go in, which was flying there. And he also reported that he called the policeman and said, you didn't want to let me in without a sweater. But this guy has taken his sweater off and you're allowing it now. So now this is the kind of attitude that is shown by SA cricket towards people who want to support Palestine. But the interesting thing is the people who pushed me showed me to the board on the stadium that said, and the board says, only cricket-related flags will be allowed. So I asked, but now why did you not allow my son with his T-shirt? They said, no, that's also like a flag. And believe it or not, 5 minutes later, a person with a Manchester United, which to everybody in the world should know, it's a football T-shirt, not cricket, allowed him in. And I asked the police, why are you allowing this guy? They said, no, don't talk to us. So this kind of bigotry that's happening is actually a major problem for people who believe that South Africa has, firstly, been liberated and is allowing free protest. And number two, it is a hypocritical stance when we say we should be consistent in supporting Palestine. Now, the issue really is, and this is what I asked the police, if I were to hire the stadium in terms of your law of 2010 or whatever, and I say, I want whites only in here, are you as SEPs going to be preventing others from going in because I decided I am selecting people to go in? Or is that not an unconstitutional situation? They didn't have an answer for me. They said they're just doing their job. Now, I'm saying that we shouldn't be allowing people to do this kind of thing where Cricket South Africa does not want Palestine, people who support Palestine inside their stadiums. This is the kind of thing that we need to stop. And then they use SEPs in order to uphold their unconstitutional law.
Right. So, I was going to ask you on whose instruction were these law enforcement acting? And we've seen that Cricket South Africa has been criticized for selecting a pro-Zionist captain in any case. So they are in the spotlight regarding their pro-Israel Zionist, move. So do you think this is related at all?
Well, the concern is that, yes, the second reason why we went to specifically raise the Palestine flag at an SA cricket facility or match is because we wanted to highlight that after SA cricket knew that Tiger had supported not only Israel as a generality, but actually endorsed those who are fighting in the occupation army. And we said, how is it possible that South Africa can allow a racist like that to represent a non-racial South Africa? It goes against the grain of anyone. That is why we believed it was necessary to raise the Palestinian flag inside the stadium and outside. But when you have endorsement like this, where people say, no, you're not allowed to exercise your right to protest, it becomes a worry on what's happening to our South Africa. The second aspect that is a worry is when police simply say they're doing their job. We are the same people that have come through the apartheid South Africa, where when police stop you, whether it was rubber bullets or live ammo, they came to the Truth and Reconciliation Commission and said, we only did our job. So if we've created the same type of police that only do their job, then we are building a sick society. Because even if we're talking about police that said, these youngsters, I told them yesterday, go to your families, and if they ask you, what hard work did you do today? Then you say, I defended racism, because that's what they did. And it is disgusting that SEPs defended racism. And I need to say that when we were standing there and calling and shouting that Tiger is a Zionist and shame on SA South Africa, I told the SEPs people, I'm not even talking to the law enforcement officers of the city of Cape Town, because they know when they went into it, they're enlisting a DA a job, because that city of Cape Town is laden with instructions for you to uphold Zionism. But when you take a jobs in SEPs and somebody tells you, you must go and uphold racism, then you have the right to say, I didn't enlist for this. Send me to a place. There's enough gangsters in Cape Town and drug dealers. Send me to a place where I can fight crime, not prevent people from protesting. And when your family asks you what you did, you tell them, today I defended racists.
So, subsequent to all of this, what's happened? Have you heard from any officials? Have you heard from, apart from support, of course, like Salam Media and many others? What have you heard?
Well, the thing is that the Mr. Moses, who was in charge of the field operation there, he couldn't give me explanation of why we are being bundled from one side to the other. He then sent me the safety officer to come and explain to me why we are being bundled and why we must be happy that we are able to be at that corner of the stadium rather than on the other end. It's first, that answer was the same that the Zionist occupiers are telling the Palestinians, you must be happy that you have a piece of land there. But it smacks of the same arrogance. The reality is that when he came up with a law that said, and this is what I also feel South Africans need to flesh out, when laws are promulgated that first we're not really either happy with, even law-abiding citizens are not happy with, but actually it's just, as they would say, smuggled in, because we told about this afterwards, that when somebody books a stadium, according to this guy, they can decide on the peripheral roads and in the perimeter on where their reach is. So if they've decided we can't have Palestine flags up to a certain point, then the police have to ensure that it isn't throughout. But this is a problem. How can a person first hire a stadium, then decide how far they need to go in order to implement the wish of somebody that might be a racist, as in this case. SA Cricket is clearly doing upholding the wishes of a racist nation by saying don't fly a Palestine flag here, and then they not only roll it out to the stadium that they've hired, but they roll it out to the neighboring streets, which should be the right of every citizen to use. Now, the issue of who else did we responded? Yes, there are many people that have said surely this is not correct, that we should take this up. The abuse by the police in the first place should be handled and addressed. Maybe in that regard, I'm a tired citizen. I'm so used to police brutality that I've said, maybe it's another way of them to keep us busy. But I might be convinced that in order to ensure that others don't get abused in the same way, that maybe we should lay charges against the police. The second thing is, we should look at whether what was quoted as the right of people who occupy a stadium to extend their wish to a public place, if that can just be exercised as is. Because it's interesting that when the Zionist Federation or one of their lackeys had the 75th anniversary of Israel at Greenpoint Cricket Club, we also protested there. And yes, it was probably a protest that was not called by the religious bodies and popular organizations for whatever their reasons were. So there were only a few of us. But we still proudly held the Palestine flag to the dismay of the organizers. But they also, the police told us, no, you can't protest here, you can protest wherever, far from the stadium. We had none of it at the time. and we went ahead and had the protest. But I believe right-thinking South Africans should stop this trend where our right to protest is limited to places where the people who object to our protest wants to push us to. That's like not allowing us to protest. So we're not even, and then I'm asking South Africans, if SA Cricket endorses stopping a Palestinian flag in their stadium, then why should we allow them to be called SA Cricket? And why, as South Africa, why should we as South Africans allow them to have the right to field a team that represents South Africa when it goes against what South Africa stands for?
So then the question is, what can we do to prevent this from happening again?
Well, you know, if people, great people have said never, never again, and then things happen again in South Africa, just in a different vibe, different guise. When we were told, I'm not saying I fought, but I'm saying there were people that fought for the right to protest. There were people who fought for the right to gather. It's shocking that we said the apartheid government was a monster when we were shot at and prosecuted, when we said to people, this is enough, enough is enough, let's take to the streets. When 1976 happened, we were saying this must never happen again. But in 1994, the Gatherings Act formally prevented people from taking to the streets spontaneously. So it is necessary for people to look at acts and overhaul it. And actually, we as a community, when I talk a community, every peace-loving South African needs to say, so they tell us we have a wonderful constitution. But how wonderful is it actually? Because we're living it now. And if the police are saying this is constitutionally correct, then there's something wrong. And therefore, we are saying we need to take these little steps by saying, how can you take our streets away from us? By enacting a law that clearly must be unconstitutional. And we need the public to start rolling out and saying, we can't support a South African team just because they're called South African. We can't go and say South African cricket can be legitimately South African cricket if they go against the wishes. We can't say that South African police have the right to simply point us to a piece of paper that says that's what we're implementing, but it goes against our liberties. The fact that I was brutalized yesterday, the fact that another lady was brutalized yesterday and the day before means one thing. It means that they have brutalized us. But when we're raising the Palestine flag, we know that hurt that we found, that trauma that we had to go through is nothing in comparison to what the families and an entire community of Palestinians are going through. So it's small things. Correct. But if it happens in South Africa, we need to ask ourselves, is this the South Africa that we are told is a free country?
Absolutely, and that is why it's become such a concern for all of us, and to see all of you go through that. But let's follow this up with you and see if it is necessary then for you to be, or are you thinking about laying a charge, etc. But we can talk about that at some other point. Thank you very much.
I just want to close on that. Yes.
Yes.
I sort of have been convinced that laying a charge is probably the right thing. What I think is more important is for people to rise up and say, today you're preventing us from raising the Palestine flag. What is the Zionist going to tell us tomorrow and instruct the stadium or Cricket South Africa or the politicians or whoever to do tomorrow that also affects our liberties? What is the person that holds the purse strings going to tell and instruct the police tomorrow to do that also curtails our liberties? And we as a community must put a stop to it. That's the only way that it will work. The leaders, supposedly the political leaders, must step out now and say, why is it, even if 1 or 2 people are hurt unjustly, they need to step out and say, guys, this must stop. And if they don't, we must replace the leaders. We must replace them with people who do stand up for what is right and to implement what is right and to forbid what is wrong.
Correct. So we will be following that very closely. And I must also quickly add before we close that it is quite interesting that we have South Africa leading the way in having Israel face genocide charges at the International Criminal at the ICJ, I beg your pardon, and here we have the injustices and oppression that we've witnessed as South Africans in South Africa to a South African. So yeah, we must do something about it. Thank you very much.
And a Zionist supporter is leading the South African team under 19. Unacceptable.
Cassiem Parker, Pagat Exco member, thank you very, very much for your time this morning. Jazakallah khair, and we admire your resilience, your resistance, and I saw you resisting there, and you know, you've just inspired us even more to stand up and to stand up. Alhamdulillah. So enjoy the rest of your day, and Jazakallah khair for your time. We will be ending off and concluding this interview with more footage out of what happened yesterday at the Newlands Cricket Stadium in Cape Town.
To get to a point where we can speak our minds on racism, apartheid, occupation, murder of innocent civilians. Shame on you! How you can sleep at night?
Sorry? Can you please join the rest of the group?
We've got laws against gender-based
No one is touching you.
No, don't touch me, eh? Don't touch
Then
me.
you need to comply.
No,
Otherwise,
you don't touch me.
No. You need to comply.
You're not allowed to touch me. You're not allowed to touch me. Don't touch me. I don't touch you. Don't touch me.
Where are you going?
Shame on you!
They have got kids.
Shame on South African cricket! Shame on the South African cricket!
they don't want us to protest and exercise our constitutional rights.
Just the other day they were in apartheid.
Exactly.
Isn't it strange? Isn't it just strange?
South African aggression, man.
No, you can. Because you can't be invaded. I'm a journalist. I'm a father. I'm an activist. Here's your flag. I'm going to show you. Maybe I'll show you the picture. What's your story? You cannot compromise our constitutional rights. Captain, yes. Captain Moses, yes. Where are you based? At Public Order Police. When we reach the ticketing area, no, you can't. This is not an apartheid zone where you can make your own rules irrespective of the constitution.
Yes. Don't stop. Move, Melanie, move, Melanie. Come forward. Forward. Gentlemen, goes to work.
Okay.
My black bag is still there.
Where's the black bag? Who's got the bag?
I've got the bag.
Who's got the... There's a flag here.
Yes. Yes, the call.
Against apartheid, against the 75-year occupation and subjugation of the Palestinian people. Shame on all of you!
Don't worry, we've got 100 people in here today. They've been surprised. They've been surprised. They're going to get out today. We've got more than 100 people in the overall disturbed. Free Palestine!
Free Palestine!
Don't they think we didn't strategize? Don't think it was every over will be disturbed. Free Palestine! Gaza, don't cry! That's not your property, brother. That was not belong to you. That's not your property, bro.
Thank you, man.
No, don't lecture me on what is right and what is wrong. You stick to your police business.
Your police
When we get a ticket, no, you cannot tell me.
Where to tickets? Since when are the South African police a private security company for the racist state of Israel?
Thank you.
Shame